Hey, welcome back to Santa's Workshop. Have you thought about putting in a mini split? Maybe even doing it yourself with something similar to Mr. Cool or some of the other brands that are out there? Well, stay tuned. I've got a few things that I'd like to share with you as far as my experience in putting one into my shop.
Watching that red beam glow, sleigh bells and laser beams.
Before I tell my story of my Mr. Cool, first I want to say that it works great now. I've got everything working on it, so it ultimately did work, but I do want to throw a few things out there. The fact that I am not an expert. I'm not doing a DIY how to install all this. I'm just showing you what I had done to complete mine. And on top of that, if you still feel comfortable doing this, please don't do it, and don't take anything I say as gospel as far as the way you need to do it. So with that, I'll show you what's going on. Now, a lot of you, like me, have something like this. So this is the 10,000 BTU portable air conditioner and heater that I have in the shop. And it did okay, but the summer months, getting hot like they are this year with the 104 feel like and that kind of thing, it really wasn't working. So Mrs. Claus, Miss Tracy, came in here one evening to do some work and realized how hot it was. And about 30 minutes later, she said, why don't you just go ahead and get the mini split you've been talking about? That is way too hot. So we discussed it a little bit and we decided to go ahead and get it. And of course, we were having to vent it out the window, so that didn't help any as far as trying to keep it cool in here. So being the kind of person that I am anyway, I had done some reviews and some, looking around at different types before that. And I'll be honest with you, the Mr. Cool looked really good as far as being able to get it up quickly, to be able to do it myself, hopefully save a little money and be able to switch over fairly quickly. But you'll see that there were several factors that kind of slowed me down a little bit. And the very first one was simply the fact that it's been raining and storming here for several days now. So I was in and out of the shop, and you'll see in some upcoming part of the video here that sometimes we're in the dark because I was trying to work at night and that kind of thing. So I apologize now for that portion of it, but I think it was important to kind of tell that story as well. And so I chose the Mr. Cool 12,000 BTU. It's also got a heater. It's basically an air handler and a heat pump together. So I like that. I also like the fact that they were already pre-charged lines and the machine's already pre-charged. So that was an advantage to me as well, because I wouldn't have to necessarily wait on anybody. And so it comes in two separate boxes. Basically, you've got the outdoor unit and the indoor unit. Now, the one thing I will tell you up front is to go ahead and open these boxes up and take everything out, because one piece I did not find until I actually had the outdoor unit set up. It was actually hidden behind a cover. So make sure that you look through all the boxes and then look in behind the covers that are on these things. This shows a little bit of what the get with the package. One of the things is you have a dongle that you can put in that actually allow you to use your phone to control the system. On top of that, you get a remote control. Now, my remote control I have set up in the shop on the other side of the building, basically, so that I can use it as a second thermostat. What it does is every 3 minutes, it sends a signal back to the indoor unit, telling it what the temperature is on that side. That way, I'm controlling the air all the way across the shop itself. The wire that shows above is basically a wire that comes out of the indoor unit. It's already connected on that side, and all you do is connect the wires when you put out the outdoor unit. And this was something else I liked about the unit, was the fact that it has a 5-year warranty on parts, and then it has a 7-year warranty on the compressor. Now, I've not compared warranties because I had not got it that far along before I decided to go ahead and buy one. Here on the side of the box, it says how easy it is to install. You drill a hole to open for the line set. You take and mount the indoor handler and you connect it to the outdoor. It seems simple enough, doesn't it? And so one of the first things I did, of course, was I pulled the manual out and I started reading through this manual and thought I had a pretty good idea of how everything was supposed to go. But I ran into a few hoops that we'll show here in a minute, and I would suggest you go ahead and watch the video. The video actually seems to be more up to date than the book in some sections. So that was kind of discouraging. That put me behind in a few things. But the other thing I would like to go ahead and tell you about is the fact that you need to be able to self-diagnose where are you as a DIY individual. Because you have to run electrical on this. You have to understand the electrical just enough to run this, because you're going to go from a breaker box to a disconnect, and then you're going to have to go into the outside unit. You also have to run your power from your air handler on the inside out to the outdoor unit, and you're going to have to connect that as well. So can you do that? Is that something you're capable of? Also, you've got plumbing as far as the line set that comes from the head over to the outdoor unit as well. So you need to kind of factor those in. And then there's one other factor that you don't even think about that we'll talk about shortly, that is something that's serious to consider. That I go to Lowe's and I decided to use the flexible conduit. And then I ended up getting this disconnect box that would go outside in front of the outdoor unit itself. And then of course you get into the electrical box itself. So opened up the electrical box, and one of the things that you need to understand, and you need to find this information before you leave to head to Lowe's or anywhere else you get your stuff, is what is the amps that I need to put in that box. And I'll show you right here on the unit itself. And so this is on the outdoor unit, and that's why I say you need to take everything out. On the outdoor unit, it has the listing of MOP, which is considered the maximum overcurrent protection. And you'll notice that it says 20.0 amps. So you have to have at least a 20 amp in your breaker box for this unit. So of course you want to pre-plan everything as much as you can. And I'm coming off of the back of the breaker box, coming into this junction box you see that's right beside the disconnect, coming down and then going down the back of the building to that far corner there. So we pulled some wire using the wire puller, and we got it into the conduit, and this is that flexible I showed you a while ago. And it's getting dark at this point. I've worked a little bit on the inside. I'll show you that next, but this is where it gets dark for a minute, so I apologize. But comes out the other side, so now I have the electrical running through the conduit from one side of the building to the other. And they give you a template to hang it up and drill the hole. And this is where I ran into the first issue with the manual. So you can see I've already drilled the hole and I've already put the bracket up, and you basically hang the air handler on that bracket once it's level. So this is a 12,000 BTU unit. You'll notice right here it says 2.5 inches for the diameter of that hole, which I turned and put a 2.5 inch diameter hole in. But they give you a 3.5 inch cover to go over the wall. So that was the first mistake, and that's one of the reasons I say to watch the video, because in the video they do say 3.5 inch. Now the template also says 3.5 inch before anybody says anything about it, but like I said, I had read the book up front, so I was going with that information in my head. So that was partly my mistake, but it was also a mistake in the book. So those are things you want to watch out for, and watch both the video and look at the manual. Now, after that, I got the piece cut. I took and went and used the jigsaw and went back in there and cut a 3.5 inch hole, and then put the sleeve through and cut the other end. And then this happened, and I decided to get the head unit up, and I was going to stop for the day. Sometimes you just have one of those days. That's not supposed to come out of there. And so basically you just put the hoses through that hole and tilt it up at the top, and then it snaps in down at the bottom, and you've got the indoor unit installed in the side. Day 2, and we've got these hoses right here that actually have the refrigerant in them, and you need to be careful with them because they've got caps on the end. Make sure the caps stay on while you're messing with them, but you have to connect them from the air handler that's inside your building that we put up the night before out to the outdoor unit. So I've got to get it mounted. I've got to put the bracket together, put that up on there, get it situated, and then get the pipe connected. So that's what we did. And so another little moment here, if you're looking in the manual, this shows that the refrigerant pipe can exit the left side of the unit. Now it is actually on the left hand side if you're looking at the rear of the unit, but you're actually exiting out the building on the right hand side. So just another little thing to look out for. So day 2 comes, and as you can see, I've started connecting the pipes that I showed you from the day before, and I'm dodging storms like I said at the beginning. And by nighttime, I have got the power ran into the disconnect here, as you can see, and you get 25 feet of that hose, so you're going to have excess unless you just measure it all the way out, which I left it curled up. I'm going to take and do something with it. I've got all the power. That's the drain that comes out of the bottom, comes around the building, and then goes back up into the air handler. I've got some plastic pieces that'll kind of cover that up, make it a little bit better, but that was day 2. It wasn't too eventful. So day 3 rolls around, and I'm pretty excited because I'm finally going to get to turn on the unit and see what it does inside the building. But had one little issue that we'll discuss, but this is showing you kind of the overview of everything the next morning as I had it all laid out. Since you saw the night view, you can kind of see how everything's laid out here. So now it's day 3, and I'm excited about going out in the shop. Come out here to turn the air on and actually go out and take and do the bubble test. And what the bubble test basically does is you take soapy water and you spray on your connectors to make sure you don't have any bubbles, means you don't have any leaks. And as you can see, I didn't have any leaks. Now, the one thing they do tell you is to make sure you don't over tighten these things and make sure that you don't have any bubbles. But I want you to look, there's a little bit of gap between the connections for each one of these. And this ultimately becomes an issue that I have, because when I come back into the building, I have no air. So I check the temperature above and then down at the machine, and the temperature is exactly the same. It's coming in ambient and going out the same way. So I have a real issue. I spend the next hour trying to find the issue. Can't find it. So my very next thought was, well, maybe because those lines are pre-charged and the system is pre-charged when you get it, maybe it's a little low on refrigerant. And so I made a phone call or two to the local people. And that is when I found the issue that most important for you to understand and recognize before you decide to get at least a pre-charged unit. Most of the companies that I spoke with, the R454B, that is the refrigerant, I can't purchase it. It has to be purchased through a tech. The second part of that is the fact that the systems, they will not work on. They have the liability that they would be taking on for the compressor, and they will not do it. And so you now have a unit that is basically you can't get serviced locally. So I sent an email first to Mr. Cool, and it was getting late in the afternoon and I hadn't heard anything. So the first thing the next morning, this is day 4 now, the next morning I actually called, got a hold of somebody with Mr. Cool, and actually it worked out to be a great day, because what happened is this photo here, if you look closely, you can see that the nuts are touching one another. When you tighten those brass couplings together on the line set, you want to make sure that you come all the way together, because apparently what happens is it doesn't have, when you don't get it tightened all the way down, even though the system is working, it doesn't have enough pressure to actually physically push the coolant through in order to start the machine up. So I spent about an hour back and forth online, photos, videos, back and forth with the help support by the guy by the name of Josh. And we were able to actually tighten them down, double checked again with the water to make sure that we didn't have any bubbles or anything like that. I finally walked back in here, and I now have the split unit running inside my shop. And I'm going to tell you, it's great. I'm sitting here looking right now, and it's 72 degrees in here. Like I said, I have the remote right here, which acts as a second thermostat. The actual unit's over here on my right-hand side. And so it has been running great. The one caveat that I will warn you about right now, I've got a monitor down here that shows several different things, including the humidity. And right now my humidity is about 53%, which is not terrible, but I'm gonna have to wait for another hot day to see what the humidity is. I got a feeling more than likely I'm gonna have to put a dehumidifier in here of some sort and get that exited out. But ultimately, I can say that this is a great thing. If you want a mini split, I would go for it. The question I would ask myself though before you make that final decision is like I said at the beginning, how willing are you to do DIY? How confident are you in your abilities based off of what you've seen in the video? Do you think you could get it done? Are you willing to go with the 5 years and 7 year warranty, knowing that if something really happens, you either A, we're going to have to fix it yourself with the support of like Mr. Cool or somebody like that, and not be able to get local help more than likely. And then on top of that is the price. Is it worth it to you to put in your shop? Like I said, it's ultimately been great for me, and I'm enjoying it very much. So it's a decision you can make. And like I said, this is just a video showing what I've done. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. I would appreciate it very much. This was a 4-day ordeal. It's usually a 1 day. You could do it in 1 day, and I see a lot of videos out there that one day most people can get it put up. But like I was dodging the rain, and we're still getting rain now as we speak. But it was a lot of fun to go through it. It's been a while since I've done several different things at one time, the electrical and trying to figure all that out and that kind of thing too. So, but yeah, if you feel like you've got the abilities to do it, this is something you can definitely do. It's not plug and play, as you can tell, but good luck to you. I hope you get you a mini split if you want one, and that y'all have a wonderful day.